Hey everybody, Dave Duford here. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. It is March 12th, 2020, and I've decided it's time to discuss openly the concerns of coronavirus and its implications in the insurance sales business. I'm going to talk about what I think are some of my fears in going forward about what to expect and what categories and segments of the insurance sales business, but also I'm going to detail what I believe truly are the opportunities that many people are missing out on, that if you are prepared, it's going to be a wonderful time in a sense, as we'll get into more detail. So where are we today? So if you're watching this in the future, know that I have no clue what's going to happen. I have no idea what the implications and the impacts of long-term of this is going to be. It could be short-term, it could be long-term. But at this present moment, I was driving home and it's foggy outside. We're clearly in a fog of hysteria. This is something that's on everybody's mind. Everybody's concerned. They don't know how it's going to impact themselves and their business and the friends and family around them. And so we need to kind of clarify some things I think are really important as far as how to adjust and handle our mindsets in going forward and to remind ourselves of really the fundamentals. So what is all this? What are the implications of coronavirus to insurance sales? I think the big thing right now is that any sort of business models in the insurance business that rely on a good economic time are definitely going to be impacted. I've seen this before. I started in 2011, smack dab in the Great Recession, albeit different times, of course. I had a personal training business before that, and nobody needs to have a personal training. You just work out on your own, right? So what ended up happening is within a short period of time, I lost a third of my business, and then the new sales I made were less profitable, and the clients stayed on longer. In personal training, it's a recurring revenue model. You want to continue your clients on as long as possible. And so all that diminished. It wasn't that I went out of business or I didn't have clients. It was just a lot harder. And I slowly, started going down over the course of a year. And the point I bring up with this is that if you're selling insurance and you're in a market where it's discretionary to buy the product, if the mindset of the prospect is that this purchase decision, it's important, but because I don't know what to expect, I'm afraid of what's going to happen tomorrow to maybe my job or my profession, I'm just going to put this off until I absolutely have to buy it. That is what happened during the Great Recession. It was less that the end times were near and people were going broke. That had definitely happened. But there was a psychological effect that's prompted people before they made major purchase decisions, even minor purchase decisions, to ask themselves, is this something I should be concerned about? And is this something that can wait? So I say all this, what are we looking for in the insurance sales business as being the most affected? Number one right now to me, guys, is mortgage protection. If I were selling mortgage protection right now, I would seriously be considering possibly transitioning to a more stable type of insurance sales model. This is what happened back in, again, 2008, 2009. I talked to a guy yesterday who was killing it back in the mid-2000s before the mortgage crisis. And it was the best of times for mortgage protection, but almost overnight, like within 6 or 12 months, new home sales dried up. Nobody was buying anymore, and those who did were very cautious about the decisions that they made to buy what may be considered insurance that isn't necessarily needed right at that moment. So I see the same thing potentially happening again, and I think it is going to be very wise of you all that to think about what can you do to work your way out of a position like that that's entirely dependent upon a good, healthy economy. Again, don't know if it's going to collapse. I don't know anything, but these are concerns that I have seen in the past that you should be prepared for. And that goes for any insurance sales market that depends on a good economy. So, if you do, what did I put down here? If you sell to businesses, you need to be concerned. Businesses are going to also retract. Not all businesses are going to go out of business, but we're going to see definite effects in obviously the travel industry, the lodging industry. We're going to see effects on any of those businesses around those in the supply chain that service those businesses. And everybody in that segment of the population is going to be a little bit more conservative before they start taking on additional insurance. So it's not that there's no opportunity. In fact, there's tons, as we're going to get to. But these are the things you should be aware of. Now, with that said, I want to talk about, I think, the diamond in the rough, the hidden gem here that's really important to remember, okay? It's the hard times here are when you really have the best opportunities. And I think uniquely, compared to other insurance, this business gives you opportunities that you would not see otherwise, both in building your business, but also in building an agency, as we'll talk about here momentarily. So I want to start with what I want to remind everybody here in the midst of this panic, in the midst of this hysteria. The fundamentals are the fundamentals. Don't forget what we know with high level of certainty is going to happen. And then remember, what are the implications of fundamentals, okay? So let's take a look at the first chart here. So this chart here is a representation of the number of seniors turning 65 every single day until 2029. So right now, obviously, it's 2020. Every single day, there are 10,800 seniors turning 65. That is going to creep up and continue at the same pace, if not improve, for the next 20 years. I don't have the chart here. I wish I did. But by 2040, the people 65 and older, the population will double, okay? So I think it's 20 million today. It's going to be 40 million. Might be a lot more than that. I may be wrong there. But it's going to double, okay? And it's a multi-million percentage double. Now, why is that a big deal? Why should you need to know this? Well, so life insurance and just insurance in general is a event-driven purchase, okay? People purchase life insurance. People purchase Medicare insurance because of aging into this process of living and this point in their lives to where they need more of something now than they had in the past. And again, looking at this chart, the obvious opportunity here, if it's not sticking out to you, is the fact that these people are going to need Medicare still. Even if the coronavirus is something that gets even worse, that's not going to change, and this is my point, this is not going to change their desire and need for a Medicare supplement, a Medicare Advantage plan. The fundamentals still remain, right? So you are in a position in a business model, at least in this context, in the senior market, where there will still be a demand, and not only just a demand, but an ever-increasing demand. Obviously, if the world ends and it's Walking Dead times, that's a little different. But I don't think any of us are to the point of being that, frightened. So that's chart number one that I think we all have to keep in mind here. And for those of you out there who aren't doing or involved in the senior market, this should make a big impact on you. Because it's not just about Medicare sale opportunities. It's also about tangential related issues. So, for example, this right here is a median value of retirement accounts for families with holdings. And you can see what the savings amount is. Now, this was, again, as the economy was recovering in 2013. It's probably a little bit better now. But more people are reaching retirement that either A, don't like, for example, what's happening in the stock market right now, or B, they have a hell of a lot less than they thought they would. They're literally living paycheck to paycheck. What are the implications for, again, a growing fundamental portion of the population, right? Go back to that prior chart here where you have, 65 and older increasing at a precipitous rate. What are the implications of that as far as their money goes? Well, the first one is for the ones that are broke, and there's more people ending in retirement with much less money. Trust me, if anything, people end up retired not realizing how much they needed to have money saved. That's a common theme. The opportunity there is that what are the things in life that they will need that they can't necessarily pay for now because they don't have the savings, they don't have the or the financial capacity to prepare for. And the first thing in my mind is final expense. People will still die, right? It's a guarantee. See, that's the thing. We know you're going to die. Death and taxes is the only certain thing. And kind of along the lines of death, we know there's an expense to it. There's usually an expense to cover a cremation. There's usually an expense to cover a burial. And there's implications with when you die, how it affects the other people around you. Do you maintain their livelihoods? Do you want to make sure that they're better off or at least not worse off? And a life insurance policy is able to solve for this, especially for people who cannot afford and don't have the time necessary to save up money in order to, self-fund their final expenses, which again will be the vast majority of the people that are turning 65. Not a margin, the vast majority of them. So the next chart I want to show you here, again, is, here's the chart I was talking about. Right now, this shows you the distribution of people from 2000 to really 2050, of the people are going to be 65 and older by group. So if you look at this chart in 2020 today, we got about 45 million. So it looks like by 2045, it's projected to be 80 to 85 million. And again, that's 40 million people that are going to go through all of these fundamental life event purchase decision opportunities. They're required to get something for their Medicare, supplements, or Medicare Advantage. They're going to be curious about it because they're losing the insurance they always had, and they're concerned that they want to take care of themselves. And then all the implications along with that, for example, retirement. I haven't even hit on that with the stock market. People end up in retirement and realize, hey, look, I'm not contributing to my plan anymore. I've got to live off of what I saved. What does that mean for us? There's huge opportunities in protecting people's retirement savings with annuity planning, okay, or annuity sales opportunities. In fact, right now is probably the best time to be out there selling annuities. I had an agent that wrote a $50,000 annuity 2 weeks ago. The man called him back or went on the second presentation or follow-up appointment. He said, okay, I want to build it up to $150,000. Then the following week, after the market crashed again, he said, I hate my broker. I'm putting all my money in there. It's $250,000. So that's my point here. Yes, lots of bad things are happening right now. Yes, there is not clarity in which the direction of this thing is going to go. There's a lot of fear that's out there. But don't mistake fear for a lack of opportunity. You have to keep your mind open and thinking, where is the opportunity? What can I do if I have to reinvent myself so I stay in this business and continue to help people and provide for my family? And my argument here is that there is a huge opportunity in the senior market. There will continue to be. Even if things get horrible, there's still going to fundamentally be this. It may be that we don't sell face-to-face. Maybe we do transition entirely phone to phone, over the phone. But that's something we can all do. And we have to be flexible and ready to adapt to what's going on in the environment. So let me not conclude, but add one more point I think is worth hitting up here. And it's this. I never imagined I would be in the insurance business when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, when I was a young adult. I wanted to be a personal trainer. I wanted to build a small franchise opportunity to sell it out to people willing to invest, or I wanted to have multiple locations with trainers and using the philosophy that I had as far as training goes. But all that changed when the economy changed. I was not prepared. I never lived through hard times, okay? I grew up in the 90s. Things were great during the 90s. The dot-com bust was there, but it wasn't a big deal with, Main Street. Maybe it was with Wall Street. But I didn't know what it was like to struggle or have adversity. But I did at that point, and everybody here who was working knows exactly what I mean if you think back or if you had a business. I got into insurance sales out of pure desperation. My hopes, my dreams, what I had set up myself to do were completely destroyed. Not completely destroyed, but but completely hampered by this economic downturn and people becoming cautious with what they're going to spend their money on and how they're going to spend it. And the thing is, when it comes to hard times, and here's the thing, people will lose jobs right now. People are going to lose jobs out of all the industries that are affected by the coronavirus. Again, lodging, hotel, timeshares, cruise lines, staff, salespeople from those organizations. They're all going to be affected. The ancillary supports in the supply chain, they're all going to have layoffs. There already are. We don't know how long this is going to last. But the thing is this. Economic adversity is the seed of opportunity. Okay, Napoleon Hill, please pull out Think and Grow Rich if you haven't already. Many fortunes have been made in economic adversity like the Great Recession and the Great Depression. Okay, we know this. So what you need to do is keep your mind open. And I'm telling you right now, I don't want to say excited because I don't want to sound flippant or disrespectful. This sucks, you know. This risk is not good for our country and our people. But there is an opportunity to get these people who love their industry that they're involved in, who enjoyed what they do, and get them into a business model that has less fluctuations in demand and supply. People who are losing their jobs, guess what, are open-minded to something like insurance, especially when they get desperate like I did. So if you've been thinking about recruiting, if you've been thinking about building an agency, you need to start getting the gears moving today. Today, it is an excellent time. Again, hate saying that because it sounds disrespectful, but it is. Bad times like this get people moving to do things they would not have ever considered. And with the combination of a business model, again, as I'll show you, with this many people turning over 65 over the next 20 plus years, this is a fundamental reality. This business is still 100% hot. There's still 100% of the opportunity, and it's growing each day regardless of what's happening right now in the economy. So some concluding thoughts here. I got to get on a conference call, so some thoughts here. Hold the line, guys. Don't let this hysteria steer you away and get you afraid to do what you were meant to do if you're already selling insurance. Hold the line. Don't lose your wits, okay? Don't fall into the hysteria. Don't think that this is going to end the opportunity that I've described. Hard times make hard men, all right? If this is your first time in difficulties like this will make you a better person. This will prepare you for the tough things in life, okay? Adversity is the time in which we prepare and see what our character is really made of, okay? The truth is the last 10 years, last 5 years especially, have been the best times and the easiest times to make money, okay? It possibly will get worse right now, all right? So what does that mean? You've got to have your mindset right, okay? You have to believe in the fundamentals. That's one side. That's the logic. The other thing is you got to believe in yourself. And you cannot be feared into not doing where there is the opportunity, because there will be many people who are afraid or who will exit this business because they're over leveraged, because they weren't prepared. They didn't prepare. They spent all their money. Okay, this is an opportunity if you can see through this. The other thing now, and this is true of all industries, when things get tough, good sales technique is more important than ever. Okay, when everybody's got money to burn and there's no big deal about their job or risk or anything like that, if it's easier to sell and push product. Right now and probably going forward, that is going to change, most especially in those insurance sales fields that I discussed earlier, the ones that depend on a discretionary willingness to buy. But regardless, it's vital that you get good at handling sales objections. You get good at building trust and rapport. You get absolutely as powerful as possible in front of your prospects to prepare them, to close them, because they'll need someone compelling to buy from, okay? If you are not well-trained and well-prepared, expect less sales. I don't know if it's going to happen, but expect it. So then prepare around a way to prevent that from happening. Hard work is more important than ever. Again, this is the same thing that happened back in the early and mid 2000s. Everybody was making money. Mortgage guys were making money hand over fist. Everybody was buying houses. Everybody thought it was a new horizon. Everything was new, a new era of prosperity. But then guess what? Shit hit the fan. This has already happened again over the past 5 years. People have forgotten the lessons of the Great Recession. And this is going to dramatically affect everybody. So you got to work your ass off, okay? You have got to make up for the difficulty and the concerns and the adversity. Expect to work more. Don't put your foot off the gas. Slam it down and go as fast as you can. You need to power through what we're about to experience if it ends up being that way. And again, I can't help but to reiterate. Hard times make hard men, guys, all right? This is a test of our character. It's a test of our wit. It's going to define who you are right now with what's happening. It's going to show you your true character. Are you going to quit? Are you going to be afraid and let something like this stop you from achieving your dreams and helping the people that you care about? Or are you going to step up to the challenge and keep going and find ways to make this work? Reinvent yourself if you have to, okay? Do not run. Do not falter, okay? This business is awesome. It will continue to be awesome. The people out there need your help, no matter what's going on out there. So hold the line. That's it. Hopefully that gives you a little motivation and some perspective. If I can help with anything, reach out to me at davidduford.com. See you.